I hereby offer a significantly, massively discounted subscription to our app for anyone who can correctly pinpoint, without cheating, without looking it up, who were the two starting wide receivers this past Sunday against the Bengals. I'm asking for a reason. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers, presented by FanDuel. Comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots. Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Steelers versus Bears will happen Sunday in Chicago. It'll be a 1:02 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. For those of you who are aware of your time zones, you'll know that means it's at noon Central Time inside Soldier Field. Now, who takes to Soldier Field at the outset isn't really much of a thing. Who the starter is in the NFL really isn't much of a thing, at least not at most positions. The answer to my little trivia there is, one was easy, DK Metcalf. The other was Ben Skoranek, who would be fifth on your wide receiver depth chart. He would finish the afternoon with 15 total offensive snaps. So it didn't matter who started. Calvin Austin, who is still listed on the team's official depth chart as the other starting wide receiver, ended up with 19 offensive snaps, barely more than Skoranek, and just a hair above half of the 37 offensive snaps that Ramon Wilson had, as Wilson continues to climb into the team's vision over the past couple of weeks. Which brings me, somewhat oddly, to James Pierre and this response that Mike Tomlin gave at his press conference yesterday on the South Side when asked if Darius Slay is healthy and ready to go, will he reclaim his starting outside corner position, and what would happen to Pierre?
Yeah, he steps back in and plays. Certainly. We're certainly going to continue to play James. He's deserving of that, but if healthy, Slay is going to play.
So, yeah, way to set the citizens off, Coach. I mean, that'll do it. Pierre might have been the very best player from either side in that game. And that's saying something considering what the Steelers were able to get out of Jaylen Warren, Darnell Washington, Nick Herbig, and others. Pierre was a game changer. Pierre got it done defensively in every facet. So when the head coach just casually says, sure, he steps back in and plays regarding Slay, who has not been good this season, that's going to meet with some significant resistance. It shouldn't, until and unless it actually occurs. And I really don't think it will. One of the beautiful things about snap counts now being so readily available to everybody is that there are no more places for coaches to hide from criticism, or praise for that matter, when it comes to personnel usage. I don't remember if I've shared this with you or not. Tomlin hates the snap count questions. Hates them. As much as he is stuck in other areas of football strategically and philosophically, probably, 15 or 20 years ago, in this category, he might be stuck as far back as 50 years ago. And my guess is that this has very little to do with us media types and a lot more to do with what the players would be talking about. How many snaps were you out there for? How many snaps was I out there for? How many targets did I get? He just does not track it. I don't believe he tracks it even after the fact. He is, for better or worse, a go-with-the-flow kind of coach. And there are times that's going to look terrible, as was the case just a couple of weeks ago when Warren was grossly underutilized and ended up with fewer snaps than Kenny Gainwell. There's been several occasions where Washington was way underutilized relative to his level of play. So without speaking for Tomlin in this or any other regard, when he says that Slay is going to be staying in there, this is what he means. going to read the quote again directly. Yeah, he steps back in and plays. We're certainly going to continue to play James. He's deserving of that. But if healthy, Slay is going to play. So Slay goes out there for a series. Slay goes out there and maybe gives one up. I don't mean a touchdown, maybe just a long play, maybe just a lapse. Who knows? Tomlin's reaction to that is going to be plain and simple. All right, here comes plan B. And you don't have to wait all that long for plan B. You can have it happen on Chicago's second possession or the second set of downs. One way or another, my friends, dude's going to play. He's just been too good this season, and he's been around now for, this is his 6th NFL season, all of them, of course, in Pittsburgh. There's no asterisk to him for this coaching staff. He's a known commodity. He's a trusted commodity. Getting into some numbers, he leads the team in passes defensed. For real. He's got 8 of those. Now, you can say, as Tomlin himself brought up yesterday, that the backup, when they enter the game, they're going to get picked on. Or they're at least going to make an effort to pick on you. So they're going to throw your way. So you're going to have opportunities. Well, okay. From there, Pierre's been targeted 23 times, giving up only 10 catches. And here's my favorite statistic. Out of those 10 catches, he's given up 9 total air yards. And those of you who aren't familiar with that, that's just what it sounds like. It's yards that the ball traveled forward from the quarterback to the receiver. That's it. Everything else is yards after the catch. The actual air yards, 9 air yards on 10 completions. That didn't just happen Sunday. That's been going on throughout. He just happens to be playing more. He's getting more snaps. In fact, Sunday, he ended up with 65 snaps, 1 fewer than the total that the defense had as a whole. Only Patrick Queen, Kyle Duggar, and Joey Porter had 66. He's been, overall, a better player this season than Slay has. He's gonna play. He's probably gonna play a lot. Now listen, I reserve the right to come back here on Monday and vent with fire coming out of my ears if Slay logs all the snaps and gets scorched all afternoon long. But that's not what precedent tells us. Precedent tells us actually to not pay all that much attention to this sort of statement that's made on a Tuesday. When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials, so you can join in on all the action.
Today's J1Q comes from Vicky, who asks, DK, do you think that Mike Tomlin and maybe even the offense know that Mason Rudolph's going to be QB1 against the Bears, but they're not going to tell Joe Public, including anyone in Chicago, who that starter might be? You know, a sort of gamesmanship. Never underestimate how much gamesmanship there is in the NFL. Teams will go to extremes, and doubly so in season, to mask pretty much everything that they can. But wow, I got to tell you, Vicky, that answer that Mike Tomlin gave actually was multiple answers to multiple questions about Aaron Rodgers' status, his health, what they talked about, when they talked about it, why he didn't come back out to the sideline to watch the rest of the game, what'll happen if he doesn't practice on Friday. Does he have to make up his mind Friday? This went on forever, and that's not the norm for Tomlin when it comes to discussing anybody's injury or anybody's availability for any reason. That has me feeling that what was spoken yesterday was authentic. I believe that you're going to see on Friday afternoon immediately following practice that the Pittsburgh chapter of the Professional Football Writers Association, of which DK Pittsburgh Sports is a multi-member member, is going to request a special session with Tomlin to ask him about his quarterbacks, and you'll probably have an answer at that time. In the interim, Tomlin's already made it clear, I would hope this would have been obvious, that Rodgers will not be practicing today. He kind of threw out a hint that it won't be tomorrow either. And then from there, he's just going to do that thing that he always does and lays out exactly like this. He's going to let the medical people tell him what there is to tell regarding the athlete. What can Rodgers withstand? Is it a pain tolerance thing? Is it a situation where he puts himself into jeopardy of maybe exacerbating the fracture in the wrist and thus ensuring that he's out for a whole lot longer? So no, on this occasion, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say at the same time that having covered this head coach for a long, long time, I'd like to think I've been able to pick up on some of his patterns in speaking at his various press availabilities, notably the extended ones that he has on Tuesdays. And everything that I heard, if I rolled it up in one ball and came up with one conclusion that I absolutely had to share with you right now, Rudolph's going to start in Chicago. It's not a prediction on my part as much as it is, doing that thing I just described, because I have no way of knowing, and neither does anybody else, to what extent Rodgers might heal between now and Friday and then go out there and look awesome in practice on the South Side. But right now, in this moment, and not just because of this game, but also because of what I mentioned about jeopardizing Rodgers, in addition to, this should come up too, Rudolph just played really well. You're not exactly walking in there and forfeiting the game by not having Rodgers. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are into this thing, the other quarterback-related observation that I have from the Tomlin press conference is that Will Howard will, in fact, be the backup in that event. The dream lives. Appreciate the question, Vicky. Appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't forget, we have a double shot coming up today. That's at 4 p.m. Eastern. And really, don't forget to go get the app. Go get the app. You might have heard we have one. You might have heard it's the most downloaded sports app in our region. You might have heard that DK Pittsburgh Sports as an entity is the most read sports coverage in the region. This can be supported with statistics. This is what we do for a living. These are our day jobs. Podcasts, videos, just fun. Come on over and join us. Download the app. Do it for free. And then email me directly, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. I'll hook you up with a massive discount on the premium level. Talk to you guys later today.